Good morning slash afternoon, depending on what time zone you are in. It's 12:36 Eastern, 11:36 Central. Wanted to jump in here and go ahead and give you guys the first live update for today. Want to go over the latest information, get you guys the updated forecast, the updated headlines for the winter storm warning for our winter storm that has just moved in to Kentucky and is really starting to get ramped up this morning. That will only continue as we head into the afternoon hours. So here is the latest messaging from the National Weather Service. This is a winter storm warning for the entire state, in effect until 7 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. on Monday. So we have almost 48 hours in this winter storm. The precipitation and amounts have changed just a little bit, and we've talked about this throughout the week, what the consequences would be if that warmer air aloft made it further north. And unfortunately, based off the modeling data this morning, it does appear that that warm air aloft is going to make it a little bit more north than what we was thinking last night. So that has been updated this morning. The National Weather Service is now saying along and south of the western Kentucky bluegrass parkways, we are expected to see snow and sleet accumulation 4 to 8 inches, and that's along and south of the western Kentucky bluegrass parkways. Ice accumulation has now increased up to a ½ inch. That is not a trend we want to see, but unfortunately that is the reality that we're probably looking at. We could see localized areas in southern and eastern Kentucky. I'll show you guys those areas that we're watching closely that could see up to 3/4 of an inch of ice. That is definitely not what we want to see, but again, that is the consequences that we're looking at this morning. North of the parkways, the West Kentucky Bluegrass Parkways, north of the parkways. Again, we've talked about this all week. That's kind of looked like the sweet spot. They do look like it's going to be mainly snow in that area. So there could be some sleet mixed in. Could see some freezing rain. We'll have to pay attention to exactly how far north that warmer air aloft makes it. But right now, snow totals 10 to 15 inches north of the West Kentucky Bluegrass Parkways. Locally higher amounts, especially if you get closer to the Ohio River, is what we're looking at today. Power outages and tree damage is likely due to the ice. So now I did throw this graphic in here So I know we do have a lot of people here in the Green Taylor surrounding county area. This is a more specific forecast for the Green Taylor surrounding county. I'm expecting 5 to 8 inches of snow and sleet with ice accumulations anywhere between a quarter up to a half inch. So again, the ice accumulation quarter to a half inch, that's not good. We definitely do not want to see that. We've never wanted to see that. And unfortunately, the snow amounts have come down. I know a lot of people was wanting the bigger snow. Some people didn't, but a lot of people was wanting the bigger snow. And unfortunately, those amounts have come down just a little bit because we're expected to see that warm air. This is something we've talked about very clearly all week. The trends throughout the week has slowly pushed the heavier snow amounts a little bit more to the north, a little bit at a time. We had seen a little bit of a south trend yesterday, and this morning back north just a little bit. So it's kind of fluctuated a little bit over the last 24, 36 hours. That's typically what these winter storms do. As the data picks up on the finer details, we see that slight shifting back and forth until we finally get that exact track, and that's kind of what we're looking at this morning. Radar. Let me make sure I got everything pulled up here correctly. I know there's a lot of people that's already experiencing snow. I'm already looking through the comments here right now. Snow coming down in Summersville. Snowing in Liberty. So a lot of areas that are already experiencing snowfall outside, and a lot of the ground's already snow covered. I know here in Greensburg, we're already snow covered here with the snow that's moved in. So let's go over and get to the radar real quick. You guys can kind of see what's going on. Let me see if I can move this real quick. Move this radar over just a little bit. There we go. Okay. Sorry, that little line there is bothering me. Let me move some settings around here. There we go. So this is the current radar. We'll zoom in here to the local area. You guys see that snow making its way out of Tennessee. This is all snow. There's no sleet, no freezing rain with this first wave here that's moving in. This is all snow. This is where we're going to see the majority of our snowfall accumulation. So if you're wanting to see a good snowfall, you're 5, 6, potentially up to 7 inches here in the central Kentucky area. Pretty much anybody south of the parkways, the south of the Western Kentucky Bluegrass Parkways. And if you don't know where those are at, real quickly, let me do a quick zoom out here. Your West Kentucky Bluegrass Parkways is right here in this vicinity. So if you're south of that, which is the area in the X, if you're south of this circle that I just put in, you really want to maximize on your snowfall potential before Sunday gets here. That would be the rest of today going into tonight, and you're wanting that warmer air to stay south as long as possible because this is where you're going to get the majority of your snowfall accumulations for this storm. So whatever you get snowfall-wise all the way through tonight, that's going to be the majority of your snowfall accumulations. Now, north of the river, you're going to get a lot of that tonight, but also Sunday, where you stay primarily snow, you'll continue to get those accumulations on Sunday as well. Now, once the system moves out, everybody's going to change over to snow. There's a good potential that a deformation band is going to form on the backside of that low pressure system. We're going to watch that closely. If that happens, you can probably expect a couple more inches as this system moves out. But again, we're a little bit too far out to really determine the fine scale details on the backside of the system. So again, you want to maximize on your snowfall potential all the way through tonight if you're south of the parkways. So right now we're off to a good start. Pretty much everybody's covered in snow already. We got a nice coating on the ground. That'll start to pile up, especially as we get the heavier snowfall. You look down here to the south. We'll put a pause on the radar. You can see some of the heavier amounts from Bowling Green. It's kind of hard to tell, but if you look at the radar, you can kind of see the darker areas starting to show up right here in this area. That's where you're going to get your heavier snowfall amounts. And this is moving off to the north and east. So those snowfall rates will pick up. The snow right now, right here, I know especially in Greene County, a lot of the areas are seeing kind of a smaller snow. The snow size will increase. It will get a little bit heavier, and it will really start to pile up, especially as we head into the afternoon hours. So everything will start to deteriorate from this point forward. And we're going to be watching the radar real close for the remainder of the afternoon. So one thing I want to show that I've failed to show At any point during this week. I had somebody ask me earlier, and I'm not throwing them under the bus by no means, but somebody asked me earlier when I put a forecast out that we was going to see more freezing rain and sleet. Somebody said that the temperature, he didn't see how the temperature at 20-some degrees would indicate freezing rain or sleet. He would think that the temperature at the surface would have to be longer. That's not true at all. The warm air that we're talking about is above us, way above us in the upper atmosphere. That's the warmer air that's making it north, not at the surface. So where you live, your house, your driveway, in your car, the area that you walk on, we're going to be pretty much below freezing almost the entire event. That's why this is going to be a big deal. It's the warm air at the surface. So right now, we are seeing all snow across all of Kentucky. That's when the column from the upper atmosphere to the surface is cold enough to support snow all the way down. Now, when that warmer air starts moving in, the snow melts into rain and then refreezes into these ice pellets as it's falling towards the surface. That's where you get sleet. You get a little bit more warmer air that moves in. The snow melts to rain, and it stays rain all the way to the surface, but the surface is in the 20s, 25 degrees. If the surface is below 32, you get a lot of that warmer air that moves in. The snow melts, it changes to rain, it freezes on contact. That's freezing rain. That's what we do not want. That's going to create a big time mess to whoever sees freezing rain as we head into late tonight into early tomorrow morning. Obviously, rain's where you stay warm from top to bottom, and it's just completely rain. We're not expected to see just a true changeover to rain anywhere. We expect to stay snow, sleet, freezing rain through the entire duration. So, let me show you guys a couple of the models this morning. Again, not going to go into a major data overlook here. This is the HRRR model, simulated radar. We stay snow. This goes until, this is 6 o'clock this afternoon, so we stay snow all the way through 6 p.m. We get into the 7 p.m. You see down here in Bowling Green, basically right around the Kentucky-Tennessee border, all the way north to Bowling Green. That's where that warmer air is starting to push north. This is where we're going to start changing over to some sleet in areas. Again, we're going to be watching the freezing line, or not the freezing line. We're going to be watching this warm air closely. If that warmer air stays to the south a little bit longer, our accumulations will go up a little bit. If it pushes in to the north sooner, our snow accumulations are going to go down. We're watching it close. But according to the latest HRRR model, around 7 p.m. tonight is when that sleet starts pushing in to the Bowling Green area, basically right along the Cumberland Parkways from Bowling Green to Somerset. And then we push into the 8 o'clock, this is Central Time, by the way, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, that area of sleet has pushed north just a little bit more from Paducah over to Morgantown, over to Mumfordville, over to Liberty, right here in the heart of central Kentucky. Areas to the north of that stay all snow. This is where your accumulation is going to continue to increase. And then we get into the 10, 11 o'clock. That's when the southern half of Kentucky has changed over to all freezing rain by almost midnight tonight. The sleet area is pretty much right along the West Kentucky Bluegrass Parkways from Paducah over to Litchfield, E-Town, over to Bardstown, just south of Lexington. This is 11 p.m., and that's kind of where that sleet line kind of hangs out. Right there along the parkways, kind of see it just sets up. This is going to be dangerous for areas south of the parkway because look at all this pink. This is freezing rain. This is where the freezing rain zone will set up, and this is where we'll likely go into a full-blown ice storm once we change over from snow into sleet into freezing rain. Now you see as we get into 4 p.m., that cold air starts to fight back just a little bit. You start to see the freezing rain kind of shift to the south a little bit. The sleet zone kind of expands. This is where the colder air is fighting back against the warm air. This is the battleground zone. It's going to be right there along the parkways. So if you see more sleet in this situation, once you change over from snow, it's probably going to save you from the freezing rain, but look at the freezing rain zone from Bowling Green down to Somerset. I mean, pretty much the entire southern half of the state is jumping in on the full-blown ice storm according to the HRRR model. So this is at 4 a.m. Sunday. Let me go back because this only goes out to 18 hours. And let me go 4 a.m. Sunday. So yes, at 4 a.m. Sunday, again, same situation. Ice storm, ice storm, ice storm for the majority of the southern half. The sleet storm pretty much sets up right there along the parkways. So the parkways is going to be the battleground. And we finally start to see that colder air really fight back. You look off to this is Sunday at 11 a.m. You look off here to the west, say from Paducah to Bowling Green. You see this heavier snow band on the back side of it from Paducah to Evansville. This is going to be the deformation band that kind of forms on the back side of this storm. The colder air really starts to push in. We get the freezing rain to finally stop. We finally change over to snow, and there's that deformation. Man, I was wrong. It's actually a little bit later on in the shift or in the data here. This is 4 p.m. Sunday before the storm finally exits Sunday by around 6 p.m. according to the HRRR model. And then we still have some snow streaks coming in on this is Monday at midnight. So we'll have to watch and see how the backside of this system forms. So here is the latest ice accumulation from the HRRR model. Let's get us a little bit closer here so we know what we're looking at. I'm going to do the whole event, which is 12Z 48 hours. And this is the estimated amounts from the HRRR model on the ice. Pretty much anything south of the West Kentucky Bluegrass Parkways is showing a 1/4 inch. But you get a little bit farther to the south, pretty much from Clarksville up to Bowling Green, up to Hodgenville, up to, say, Lebanon, just south of Lexington, you're looking at anywhere over a 1/2 inch of ice. Now, I know this is spitting out 6/10, 3/4 of an inch here in parts of the Greene, Berrien, Metcalfe, Taylor County areas. I don't know if we get 3/4 of an inch, but it is possible. I'm not throwing it out the window. But anything over a 1/4 inch of ice is very, very dangerous. But we're not talking about a 1/4 inch of ice. We're talking about a 1/2 inch of ice, potentially up to 3/4 of an inch. That is a very, very destructive ice storm across our region and something that is very concerning. But it's also something that we talked about. If we seen that warmer air, this was going to be the result. And like I said, unfortunately, that's kind of what we're looking at today. Here is the snowfall total. And again, we've seen the snowfall total slowly push up to the north just a little bit, and we're still highlighting that West Kentucky Bluegrass Parkway. Anything north of the West Kentucky Bluegrass Parkways, you're looking at anywhere between 8 to as much as 16 inches as close to you get to the river. You go right over the river, according to the HRRR model, that's where you get anywhere closer to that 20-inch mark. And that's going to be right across the river. So say you're Jeffersonville, Indiana type area. South of the parkways, it's still a safe bet, 5 to 7 inches. You're going to see a lot of that today, and then you're going to see a little bit of it on the backside of that system. Again, I know that's not what people wanted to see. They wanted to see these bigger snowfalls, or at least some people did. They wanted to see the 10, the 12, but unfortunately, with that warmer air making it, a little bit farther north than we anticipated, the snowfall totals will be cut down. If there wasn't no warmer air aloft, this would be a 20-inch snow for everybody. But unfortunately, there's warmer air that's working with us, against us, I guess I should say, and this is just the result. RAP model is a little bit better for us. This is the total event. Again, same scenario right there along the West Kentucky Bluegrass Parkways. That is the battle zone, and it looks like anywhere north of that is really, that's where the real snow zone is, okay? Anywhere north of the West Kentucky Bluegrass Parkways, you go to the south. Still, from the West Kentucky Bluegrass Parkways all the way down to the Cumberland, it's still showing, according to the RAP model, anywhere between, say, 5 inches all the way up to a foot. So I would probably rather have this because I know the RAP model on the ice. Now I know it's QPF, so you can't really go off by what it's saying. But it's probably going to be 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch of ice. Now I know it's spitting out 1 inch amounts, but this basically is showing everything falling is going to accumulate, and it's not. So we don't have the FRAM. Normally we use the FRAM on modeling data. The FRAM actually shows kind of what accumulates, kind of takes off what's going to run off when it hits. So again, this kind of shows you the areas that have the best potential for that icing, and it's south of the West Kentucky Bluegrass Parkways. So here's the blend. It says all the models, or I guess I should say the National Weather Service, what they use, the best modeling data, and it kind of averages all together. But right along the Cumberland Parkways and to the north have the best chance for snowfall. You get your higher amounts above the West Kentucky Bluegrass Parkways. And then here is the ice amounts from the blend. Again, it's really started to up it a little bit. Bowling Green's up to 3/4, or not 3/4 of an inch, sorry, 3/10 of an inch. Somerset over around a quarter. But regardless, anywhere south of the West Kentucky Bluegrass Parkways is going to have the best potential for that icing. Okay, so let's look at real quickly snow amounts. This is from the National Weather Service. This is updated it was 8:30 a.m. So a couple hours ago, this has been updated from the National Weather Service. They've shifted the snow, the heavier snows, a little bit more to the north based off the data I just showed you guys. So you're still seeing the 12 to 15 inches up around the Louisville area and right along the Kentucky-Indiana border. You go a little bit more to the south. Pretty much, again, I hate to keep saying it. I feel like a record on repeat. The West Kentucky Bluegrass Parkways and to the north is in that 8 to 12 inch mark. I still think that's a good possibility. And then you get the areas to the south of that. I'm going to say from the Cumberland all the way up to the West Kentucky Bluegrass Parkways, 4 to 8 inches. Now, I know the National Weather Service has 2 zones, 6 to 8 and 4 to 6. But, again, you get into where we see some heavier snow bands, heavier precipitation amounts. You could definitely get, up to 7 inches all the way down to the Cumberland Parkway, depending on how it all evolves. So I'm going to say anywhere between 4 to 8 inches right here in the middle. And then you get down here in southeastern Kentucky where they're not going to see as much of that snow zone, so to say. You get into the 2 to 3 inch, 3 to 4 inch range. The ice amounts is really what the National Weather Service has upgraded this morning. They have increased amounts pretty much from, say, Bowling Green up to Munfordville, Greensburg, Campbellsville, Lebanon, Danville, Richmond, and it points to the south. That's where you're going to see your 1/4 inch up to a 1/2 inch of ice. Now, if you look really closely, right, pretty much, I would say from Glasgow over to Edmonton, over to Columbia, just south of Liberty down to Russell Springs, the National Weather Service has added a darker color, which is highlighting the potential for ice amounts up to 3/4 of an inch. That's going to be very dangerous, and that's going to be a big deal for the Lake Cumberland region, south central Kentucky here, if that verifies. We're hoping it doesn't. We're hoping that nobody gets anywhere close to a 1/2 inch ice, but unfortunately, based off the trends today, it appears that our ice amounts have increased to anywhere between 1/4 to a 1/2 inch, and then areas down here in south central Kentucky, Lake Cumberland area, do have the potential for those icing amounts up to 3/4 of an inch. So that is a big, big deal as this winter storm really gets cranked up. A lot of your icing is going to come on Sunday. We're going to start as snow icing on Sunday, okay? So, with that being said, that's all the updated information I have for you guys. I will go through the comments. I'm not going to scroll all the way back up on the comments. If you guys have asked a question, throw it back in the comments section. Throw it back in the comments section. I've already seen one question. How much ice did we get in 09? Let me ask that. I know in 09, if I'm not mistaken, a lot of the bigger ice was in western Kentucky. So let me look that up here real quick. Here we go. 09 here for the Green Taylor County area. We've seen anywhere between looks like a 1/4 inch up to a 1/2 inch. 1/4 inch up to a 1/2 inch. So this here in the Green Taylor County area, if we received anything over a 1/2 inch, it would exceed the 09 ice storm for our local area. Now, if you look out in western Kentucky on the 09 ice storm, they received 1.5 to 2 inches. It's not going to exceed that here. It's not going to exceed the '09 ice storm as a whole. For our specific local area, Greene, Taylor, Adair counties, if we received over a ½ inch of ice, it would exceed the '09 ice storm. And that's based off the map I'm looking at here from the National Weather Service. The National Weather Service is saying that the Greene, Taylor County surrounding area received a ½ inch up to a ½ inch. There was some isolated higher amounts in the northern part of Greene and Taylor County. So that's where you could have got probably closer to 3/4 of an inch. But, yeah, that's definitely not good. Definitely not good. Let me look up that too, Veronica. Um, that is probably something I need to throw in here. Let's see if I can find a graphic here real fast. That's definitely probably something that I should have thrown in there. Yeah, let me throw this graphic in here real quick. This is something I definitely should have threw in there. Give me just 1 second here. Here we go. This is from Fox Weather. Give me a second here. Should have thought about this. Who asked that question? Veronica. Thank you. Thank you, Veronica, for asking that question. It's a great, great question. As soon as I get this up here, we'll go over it. All right. Let's see here. Let me find something. We'll add it to this right here. Got you here, got you here, got you here. And then we'll do this. And let me resize it here. And boom, and boom. So Veronica asked, what is the impacts of the ice 3/4 of an inch? Great question. I should have thrown this up there. So this is from Fox Weather. Anything a 1/4 inch or less is basically just a nuisance, okay? Minor power outages, light icing on trees, coated windshields. Pretty much kind of like what we seen the other morning where we had a winter weather advisory in effect and we said a light glaze of ice. A light glaze of ice, like I said, minor power outages, light icing on trees, nothing real crazy. You get up to a 1/4 inch to a ½ inch, which is kind of what we're expected to see across much of central Kentucky south of the parkways. Disruptive. You're going to get numerous power outages, some tree damage. The roads are going to become very slick. Okay, you get anything over a ½ inch of ice, that's crippling. So if some of these areas that the National Weather Service kind of highlighted for those icing amounts, potentially up to 3/4 of an inch, you're going to see widespread power outages. This is where you're going to see trees to begin to fall. And if you don't know why trees fall, it's because the weight of the ice on the trees cannot sustain that weight. So that's when they start to fall. That's when the tree branches start to fall. That's why the power lines fall. It's because those power lines and trees cannot sustain the weight of the ice that has fallen on them. And that's where you get into the dangerous travel. So anything over a ½ inch of ice is a crippling ice storm according to Fox Weather. I would agree with that. All right, looking through the comments section. Wayne wants to know the updated total for the Greene Taylor County area. So let me throw that up here real quick. Let me find it. Not that one. Got a lot of information. Here we go. Greene Taylor County areas. This is the latest forecast for me. The Greene Taylor County areas, again, it's already the snow's already beginning out there right now. We're looking at snow and sleet accumulation 5 to 8 inches. Ice accumulation anywhere between a 1/4 up to a ½ inch. A 1/4 up to a ½ inch. This is my latest prediction for the Greene Taylor surrounding county area. Next live update, Sandy, we'll probably try to do, it's 12 o'clock now, we'll probably shoot for 1:30 or 2 o'clock. We're going to try to do updates every 2 hours, live updates every 2 hours, radar data. We'll look over the latest short-term models, give us newest simulated radar information. I'm really going to I want you guys to send in pictures. That's the biggest thing I want to concentrate on today. I want to get you guys involved in the live stream as well. That's what I'm going to be working on after this live stream. I'm going to find a app or something that takes your pictures, automatically resizes it to where I can put them on the stream immediately. Whether or not I find that or not, I don't know, but we're going to try. But I want to get your all's pictures on the stream. That way people can see what the road conditions are like in different areas. You can kind of see what everybody's perspective is from different points of Central Kentucky. This gets you guys involved. This is what I like to do as far as building the community. I don't want it to be about me. I want it to be about you guys. I want you guys to be involved as well. So that's what I'm going to be working on after this video. Hopefully I can find something. Surely the Lord I can. It's 2026. If I can't find something to where I can drag a picture in and it resizes it automatically to a stream, we've got problems, but who knows? You guys will find out next live if I can find that. But that's kind of what my goal is today, is to get your pictures incorporated into the live stream along with the newest information. So we're going to try for every 2 hours until it's over. So buckle up. Looking through the comments, and there's anything else. Ariel says it's pretty out. Grab. It's very pretty snow. Thank you, Veronica, and thank you so much for asking that question. Thank you for pointing that out. That completely slipped my mind. Great, great question. Definitely appreciate you asking. So let me get, real quick, let me get we'll get the newest snow amounts up. Sorry, there we go. This is the newest snow amounts, expected snow amounts from the National Weather Service. Elizabeth's reporting just some light snow flurries in Bardstown. I wanted to say slight snow flurries. Light snow flurries in Bardstown. That will pick up, Elizabeth. It started here in Greene County about an hour ago, hour and a half. Some very, very light snow flurries that started to pick up. We're already at a coating here. Michelle, I do expect there to be some power outages tonight, especially if we get that freezing rain like a lot of the data is showing. There will be some power outages. So that is something else I do want to throw in there. If I lose power, I won't be able to do live videos. What I do plan on doing is I have my laptop charged. I can hotspot off my phone. I can record a video off my laptop, but it won't be live. The amount of people that watch my live streams, there's no way I can hotspot off my laptop and it be able to sustain the amount of people that's going to watch. So what I will do if we lose power, I've already got a plan in place. I'll record a video off my laptop of all the latest data and the radar data. It won't look as professional as what you're seeing here, and then I'll upload that to Facebook. So you won't have me live, but you'll have a video from me. So we've already got that in place. I've kind of already been thinking that kind of in advance. Yes, Brooklyn, if Somerset goes above freezing, it will be rain. If your temperature at the surface goes above 32, it will be rain. I don't know if that happens. I know your weather app's probably showing a lot of southeastern Kentucky going above freezing. You may do that for a little bit. We're going to watch that closely. That's going to be a big deal as well there, Brooklyn. So, Morgan, for Russell Springs, we're looking at probably closer to the 4-inch mark in Russell Springs on the snow. Olivia, yes, Glasgow with the ice is not in a good spot. Not in a good spot for the ice. Probably looking at closer to 4 inches or so on the snowfall there, Olivia, and then the ice is going to be a big deal. Macy, I pretty much covered a little bit of everybody in Central Kentucky, but yeah, Northern Barron County is pretty close to. I'm in Greene County. If you guys didn't know, I'm in Greensburg, very close to where I'm at. Spent a lot of time in Glasgow. My son was born in Glasgow, so Yes, Northern Barron County is right there in my coverage area. Karen, yes, I definitely think there's a good chance of power outages here in Campbellsville as well. Chester, great question. Send pictures to me. Send pictures to me on my Facebook page. Just go to my profile, send me a message. Or you could also send them on the Zero Meter Chasers Facebook page. You can send them there as well. I know we've got a team that's monitoring the Zero Meter Chasers page today as well. And then we'll real quickly, now that we've seen snow amounts for a little bit, here's the updated icing amounts from the National Weather Service. Lexus, as far as dangerous to travel, I mean, it's going to deteriorate throughout the day. A lot of the roads are already snow covered across a lot of central Kentucky. It's all downhill from here. Fran, yes, great comment. Please check on the elderly and your neighbors. Let them know there's a lot of people that don't have computer access that's not getting the updated information. Make sure they're aware of it. Make sure they're ready. Thank you, Susie. I appreciate that. Thank you, Hope. I seen your comment. Thank you. I'll look at that here as soon as this live video's over. That would be great. I appreciate the help on that. Melissa, we're expecting that ice sometime tomorrow morning. Probably right after midnight is when we'll transition over to freezing rain. If we transition over to freezing rain before midnight, we're going to be in big trouble. Big trouble. Katie, as far as ice in Greene County, I think anywhere between a quarter up to a half inch of ice is a good bet. Is a good bet. I would probably lean on closer to a half inch, unfortunately. And yes, anybody that receives ice, 100% you're going to be looking at some power issues. Okay, ice again, it just weighs everything down. So you get ice, you add in some wind. That's something else I need to look at here real quick. What are we looking at on the wind? Because wind also goes into effect of potential power outages. So luckily, we really don't get into any type of like extremely windy conditions until Sunday evening. We start to get up to 20-mile-an-hour gust. That might be where you start to see some of those power outages increase. Because if you already have weight on the power lines, weight on the trees from ice, you start to pick that wind up to where things are moving. That's when you have tree branches fall on the power lines. That's where you might see your power outages increase. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. Thank you, Rose. I appreciate that. That's something else. I've seen a lot of people out there taking pictures of their grass and their roads at 7 a.m. this morning, basically saying, everybody said it was going to start at 7 a.m. There ain't nothing out here. It was arranged 7 to 11 a.m. was the original forecast. And then yesterday, we upped that forecast a little bit. I think I'll have to go back and watch it, but I think it was 10 to 2 or something like that, because all the data showed it arriving just a little bit later. So there's a lot of people they see stuff and they don't check back for updates. The weather is constantly updating. There's constantly changes. They'll see something from 2 days ago. They'll take that as the forecast without checking back. Weather constantly changes. That's why I'm constantly updating you guys, constantly doing live videos, constantly looking over the data. I think I sat right here in this chair for every bit of 12 hours yesterday. I think I sat in this chair yesterday at about 2 o'clock. I don't think I moved till midnight. I know I didn't, other than just to grab something to eat. Data was constantly coming in, constantly updating. We was constantly talking back with our team. It's constantly changing. We're working very hard to give you guys the most accurate information, and things are going to change today. Things are going to change today. So we're going to keep you updated because that's what we're here to do. So anyways, prayers for all the linemen. All the workers have to be out there. Anybody in emergency management, anybody that works in the essential job, hats off to you guys. I know there's a lot of people that watch me, but you guys are the real heroes of the storm, not me. I just relay information. Government officials, emergency management, dispatchers, farmers, utility workers, anybody in healthcare. You guys are the heroes, not me. You guys will be in my prayers. And if you guys need something from me, I'll do whatever I need to do. But you guys stay safe, and thank you so much for everything you do. Definitely appreciate that. So with that being said, I'm going to end this live stream. I've answered as many questions as I can. I'm going to take just a little break. We'll figure out if I can get your pictures on the next live stream, because when we do the next live stream, that's where we're going to start throwing some pictures on, if I can figure it out. So if anybody has any idea on how to do that, if there's an app where I could drag somebody's photo in and it automatically resizes to what's going to go on the live stream, please let me know. That's what I'm going to work on right now. So you guys stay safe. Enjoy the snow. Enjoy the snow. I know there's a lot of people that like it. Enjoy the beautiful snow. And let's hope that we don't get as much ice as what we're currently looking at. But unfortunately, we probably will. So I will talk to you guys soon.